Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of November 18th, and this week brings to us Mercury in retrograde, moving back into Scorpio. Also, the Scorpio new moon, the sun moving into Sagittarius, and a shift of the seasons, plus so much more. So lots to talk about because we actually don't have a single day this week that doesn't have a planetary event taking place on it. So that makes it, as above, so below, a very busy week with a lot of different things going on. So let's get right into it. Mercury retrograde, just moving out of Sagittarius in a backwards fashion through the zodiac, and on November 18th, going to be shifting from that 0 degree point of Sagittarius to the 29 degree of Scorpio. And this is going to be quite the shift of energy for Mercury. And Mercury represents in us our mind and what's going on in our head and our mental capacities and the things that we're thinking about, the areas of life and themes that we're focusing on and coming up with ideas for and thinking about a lot and talking about too. Mercury is the planet of communication. And when it's in retrograde, we tend to go back to old material. So since Mercury station retrograde last week, we've been noticing that we've had to go back and take care of old business. And now that we've finished with this first phase of Mercury in Sagittarius, we're going to be moving back into Scorpio. And Scorpio is where we do some really deep emotional work. And it has to it a sense of finding things out that are kind of secret and hidden. And Scorpio is definitely an ocean of emotion and full of intuitive power. All the water signs are really tied in to source energy and have the ability to see things and feel into things very intuitively over the other signs. Also, with Scorpio, we move into what's below the surface and we go into the undercurrents and we go into the dark places. So we'll have now about another week and a half to 2 weeks of Mercury moving backwards to the 22, 23 degree point of Scorpio. And so we will be looking and feeling into this as we move through this week. And then on November 19th, we have Venus. Venus is the planet of our heart. And so good thing we have some Venus action here. Venus is also in Scorpio. And so now we have energies blending together. The sun is in Scorpio also. So very much feeling these themes of going in deep and trying to find things out that are hidden and bring things to the surface. Well, on the 19th, Venus is in a trine and a sextile with the nodes of destiny. And so this means that whatever action takes place in terms of heart activity, Venus is also relationships. So very representative of all types of relationships, romantic relationships, relationships within businesses and familial relationships, but definitely, more highlighting the intimate relationships here in Scorpio. And Venus is going to be having some real destined activity on that night on Wednesday this week. And so our heart is going to come to a place that we are going to feel a real pull, an intuitive pull to move into a certain area with our heart and go there and be there. It's a destined and fateful place for us to explore. And also on Wednesday, the 19th, Mercury retrograde is going to make the exact opposition to Uranus, and Uranus has just moved back into the 29-degree point of Taurus within the last couple of weeks. So Uranus is the planet of change, surprise, awakening. And so we could feel that there is a sense of surprise to this week. I mean, this is moving, when we get within 5 degrees of this activity, we feel it. But this is the exact day when it comes exact. And so there could be a surprise, some type of, imminent change or a decision made, really, because an opposition is about decision making. And so there could be like a decision making trigger, something very surprising yet awakening, causing a lot of change on the 19th. This is a good opportunity to really dive deep into the messaging that we're receiving here during this Mercury retrograde. What is it about for you? Well, you can tell what it's about for you by looking at your own personal astrological birth chart. That is a chart of where all the planets and points were at the moment of your birth. And it is a snapshot for how to work with these energies in your life, because there are 12 houses on the astrological chart, 12 different areas of life. And so you go to your birth chart, look and see where these first 7 degrees of Sagittarius and the final 8 degrees of Scorpio are, and look and see which houses this affects, and you'll see where this work needs to be done for you to move back into. There's going to be a very surprising aspect to that. And then this same Mercury retrograde, which just tons of retrograde activity this week with Mercury. And so listen into the messaging, feel into it, and really be open to what is coming up, because it's a fated time, and it's a time where we do need to make corrections to things we've screwed up in the past and get them right so that we can move forward. It is just begging for that. That's what a retrograde activity is about. And we have many other planets in retrograde. In fact, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Uranus, Jupiter, all retrograde. So we're going back and taking care of old business for sure. And then the very, very late in the evening on the 19th is when our Scorpio new moon takes place. It's at the very end degrees of Scorpio. Let me move my chart right into that. And I look at astrological chart as I do the show. I go on astroseek.com, and you can actually get a free astrological birth chart there if you need one. I'm in no way affiliated with them at all, but I think that they're a great free resource, and I use it all the time. So this new moon, let's see, 28 degrees of Scorpio. So we're setting new intentions around Scorpio themes. And this is very much including a lot of the information and a lot of the things that have come up during this retrograde. So at the very end of Scorpio season, we get the new moon, and the new moon's about planting seeds, planting new seeds. So we get the opportunity here to slow down a little bit. Mercury retrograde slows us down. The retrogrades slow us down a little bit, and figure out and pick through what it is in these Scorpio themes that you need to plant a new seed and have a new beginning with. That's what the new moon is going to want us to do. So again, look at your birth chart, find where this 28-degree point of Scorpio is for you and what house that's in, and then you really know where this work needs to be done. But most importantly, feel into it. Your intuition is so strong right now. Do not ignore it. Scorpio is like this instinctual energy. So if you feel as though something needs to happen instinctually, intuitively, that is the most important thing to be paying attention to, not the charts and not me. Listen to your intuition. Feel into it. On November 20th, Mercury retrograde is going to conjunct with the sun. And this is right in that final degree point of Scorpio. There is something very, very critical taking place at this is called a Mercury Sun cazimi. It's a fancy word for when Mercury is in retrograde and moves back over the sun, but the sun's moving the other direction. Cazimi, and it's an enhanced moment for communication, intellectual work. This is going to be really illuminating a lot of mental activity, so things that are going to be coming up and be on your mind on November 20th are going to be very, very enhanced. It's going to be heightened intuitively. It's going to be some insight that we receive that is it's going to be very important, and it's going to provide for us a lot of clarity, and it could be a great time to spark some new ideas and some new projects. But because it's Mercury retrograde, of course, it's going to be dealing with a lot of that old stuff that we're going back to. But, you could have like this is it. This is what we need to do. And on the same day, November 20th, we have Uranus in a sextile with Neptune. Well, we've actually seen this one before, and that is because this is a long, ongoing sextile between these two planets, and they're involved in this minor grand trine with Pluto, restructuring the world and restructuring the way that we live our lives. These planets, both Neptune and Uranus, had gone into new signs. Neptune went into Aries, started new things, new ideas, new cycles. Uranus went into Gemini and became all about ideas and gathering information and taking things out on the social scale. And then we have these planets, they go retrograde and just happen to be right in this time where they're right between the signs, just like Mercury doing going from Sag to Scorpio. These two planets have gone from those new signs, new ideas, fresh ideas, to returning to old themes. And this is the last time that both of these planets are going to be retrograding into these old signs. So it's very, very critical that we use this time to clean up the old messes. And a sextile between these planets, it means that they're helping each other. Neptune is our hopes and dreams and desires, and Uranus is change. So we could really come together with some insight and some balanced, harmonious way to critically, get some of this old junk out of the way so that we can move forward soon. The moon moves into Sagittarius on November 20th. It's always very much a change of the mood when we go from a water sign to a fire sign. And so we get more energy as the Sagittarius moon comes on, more enthusiasm, and that carries us into Friday, November 21st, when the sun moves into that opposition with Uranus, creating change, awakening, a decision-making moment, and at the very same time is in a trine with that Neptune, okay? So, Neptune, Uranus doing this work, figuring out how to clean up the old messes and move forward. And the sun coming into this, and the sun is our personal identity. It's our experience we are having right now. It's us. And so we come into a decision-making moment there. And it could be, one of those challenging moments that you have to make a decision, but that is what an opposition is about. And the moon is in a T-square with the nodes this day. So this is a very fateful week and a very fateful day and very fateful decision making. That is the day, the 21st, also, that we get a change of the season. We get the sun moving out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius. And this is going to freshen up a lot of the energy. We're going to get that enthusiasm, that excitement, that desire to go on an adventure and just be a burning flame. Sagittarius is the archer and shoots the arrows. And so we become very much about the long-term vision, finding that sight, the target way out there, and aiming and shooting. But the thing about the archer, too, and Sagittarius is that when that arrow is released, it's gone. Okay, so you need to make sure that it's aimed correctly. And we'll be in Sag season for a month, and this is going to be influenced by the fact that Jupiter, the ruling planet of Sagittarius, is retrograde in a water sign. Okay, so there could be a feeling of just there's the ruling planet is also working on old themes. And then also, because this Mercury retrograde is taking place in Scorpio, there's just a feeling of that. Unfortunately, our energy needs to be going where it needs to be going, and it's like a reality check for Sagittarius, because the fire signs, they just light that fire, and they just want everyone to kind of gather around and make good use of it, So this is challenging for Sag to be a little more reserved, a little more less inclined to be moving forward, and actually be taking some steps back right now. And then we move into the weekend. And on Saturday, the 22nd of November, we have Mercury in retrograde that is going to be trining Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn and Jupiter are in a almost perfect trine as of last week, and Jupiter is going to be kind of separating away from that. But before we do, of course, just like this all works, it's like you couldn't make it up. It's too good. The Mercury retrograde is going to come over the top of this trine and create another water grand trine. This is going to be a highly illuminating moment also. I mean, this week is going to be full of highly illuminating moments. So, pop your popcorn and get ready. Put on your seatbelt and your life jacket. The evening of the 22nd, the moon moves into Capricorn. Capricorn's an earth sign, so we get a little more grounded. We're going to need this. Okay, we get grounded. We get a little more step by step, and we create more structure and framework, and we're very ambitious under a Scorpio moon, under a Capricorn moon. It's one of my favorites. I get a ton of stuff done when the Capricorn moon is upon us. The 23rd, the sun sextiles Pluto, because when any planet moves through the 29 to the 1 degree point, moves from one sign to the next, it comes into contact with the minor grand trine, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, restructuring the framework of life. And a sextile, again, it's harmonious. It's nice. It's like we finally figured it out. And this could be a moment where we put some fears and doubts in check. I really, really love this idea of releasing fears and doubts, because that is like a Mercury retrograde, right? You're like already kind of not sure where everything's going to land. So it does require faith. And that is something that Sagittarius shows us. Sagittarius shows us to have faith in the grander powers that may exist. Sagittarius is the sign of astrology, and it's the sign of religion and belief systems. So there is like a need for us to really believe in these transformations that are taking place right now. And on the 24th of November, Mercury retrograde in conjunct Chiron. Chiron's the wounded healer. We're making adjustments to our wounds on the morning of the 24th. Mars in a T-square with the nodes of destiny. This is such a fateful week. And Mars is our physical body. Mars is working his way through Sagittarius at the moment, burning away on those Sagittarius themes, and our physical body is really, really fired up with this Mars in a fire sign, and fateful activity all over the weekend and moving into next week. Mercury retrograde conjuncts Venus in Scorpio also on the 24th, and this is going to be fulfilling once again this wonderful grand trine in water, and we're going to get another illuminating moment. But when Mercury and Venus come together, it's like the mind and the heart are coming together. So this could be, I feel like, a reconvening moment, like everything kind of comes together and you start to feel in line with what's actually going on in your mind. So it's a very, very fated week, and it's going to be quite illuminating, and I wish you the very best. I know you're going to do great. I really appreciate you being tuned in here to the Cosmic Community Astrology with your galactic ambassador, Stacey Dredd. Please take care, and I will be talking to you again very soon. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.